Hello, welcome to SFG Cards and Craft. After buying this stamp set a few months ago, which I really love by the way, I checked on YouTube to see what others were doing with it, and I was very surprised that there isn't many videos of this cards of the stamp. I use the Mother Elephant So Fancy as to cut the die cut, to cut the actual piece of paper that I'm using. The paper I'm using is actually Canson cold pressed 185 gram watercolour paper. This is the stamp set Designs by Rin. It's the water effects, and of course I use the Mama Elephant Butterfly Kisses for the main stamp. Here I'm actually putting out a few of the distress inks that I'm using. The Carved Pumpkin, Shabby Shutters and the Mowed Lawn are the main first three that I put out. Yeah, this style of painting, I've actually been, for years I've been doing folk art, and this is a style of the folk art. This is not necessarily the best way of painting or watercolouring or painting, whatever, but this is the way that I do it. And it's not necessarily the only way, but this is the way I do it. The video that I'm doing here is about the style of painting rather than the finished card. I have used the sentiment at the end. You'll see where I've actually done the sentiment, and I've used that from the butterfly effect, butterfly kisses as well. It's called You Are in My Thoughts. A card with You Are in My Thoughts could be used for many different things. I haven't actually listed anything, but you could use it for Mother's Day, birthday. Probably a sympathy card would be nice too. Perhaps if someone's been very unwell, perhaps they're in hospital, you could send them like a get well card and have that as the get well card, maybe with a fruit basket or something. You could send that You're in My Thoughts. So really this card could be used for many different things. I can't even think of anything else at the moment, but I'm sure there's other things it could be used for. I'm actually just painting in the flowers with this one colour at the moment. I do a little bit of shading later on with the pumice stone, which you'll see that later on. Blocking in the leaves, blocking in the petals with the carved pumpkin, and then after a while I wash off the brush, as you can see there, and then I just go in with just water, clean water, just to basically spread the paint around. It's just a style that I've actually sort of learnt by watching some of the videos of different people on, and then just developed it to my own sort of way of doing things from the YouTube. Okay, now I'm going to be starting on the leaves. This is Shabby Shutter, is actually a colour that I'm using as a light colour for the background. It's just blocking it in, it's just filling it in so that there's no, I suppose you could say, white card in behind. And then I'm putting on the mowed lawn afterwards. The mowed lawn is actually more for a shading thing. But you'll see how it comes out later on. I'm going to go through and actually do all the leaves with the Shabby Shutters first, just to get that basic green colour in there. Just going to speed up again now for a little bit. I find that using the angle shader brush, which that's what they're actually called, as an angle shader, it's a 1/4 inch one, this one that I'm using. I find that because it's such a small brush and a very flat brush, and it's angled, I find it's very easy to control, trying to get in close to things. I've tried repeatedly trying to do what other people are doing on YouTube using a round brush. I find that I can't control it as easily as I can. I think perhaps the bristles are actually too flimsy, too soft. I don't know. With the angle shader, the bristles are reasonably stiff. It's not a true hair bristle. I think it's a synthetic one, but I find that it actually works fine for me. You notice that I actually picked up a second brush there. It was one that's been used with my folk art, and the brush itself is not a very good one. So this one that I'm actually using was a brand new brush when I started doing these cards that I've actually done, this is about the 9th one I've done, I think. The dryer that I was using a moment ago is a Universal Crafts, just trying to find it, sorry, on my list, the Universal Crafts heat gun it's called. It's a reasonably priced one. I bought it here in Australia. We don't have a lot of the tools and a lot of available stock that is available in America, but we make do with what we got. Now here I'm actually putting in a little bit of the shading for the leaf with the mowed lawn distress ink and just spreading it about. You'll notice shortly after I've got it fully loaded into there, I actually go along with I think I brush on a bit of water and then mop it up with the tissue just to try and make it a bit patchy looking so that the lighter colour comes through underneath, just to sort of make it a bit mottled looking. You see, I'm just picking up some of the colour there and getting rid of some of the colour there. Okay, so that's the way I do it, and then a bit more shading in underneath just to darken that area a bit. But it was actually after that I decided I'd put some pumice stone in there to make it a bit darker because it was showing a little bit light. I thought too bright. Okay, now we're going to go on with the next leaf. You'll notice also that it's very easy with the angle brush to get a very thin line, even though I was just going roughly in along the veins. The line that I was getting, because of the shape of the brush, is a very thin line, so you can actually get thin lines and thick lines with this one brush. I just find that it's a very good brush. I've used a lot of brushes like this over the years and worn a lot of them out, but it seems to work for me. Now what I'm doing here is I'm picking up some mowed lawn and picked raspberry distress inks, mixing the two together, and I'm going to be putting in some colours that are a bit like the leaf is dying, I guess you could say. To me, the leaf looks like it's been chewed on by an insect or maybe a caterpillar or something on a couple of spots on one leaf and then one spot on the other leaf. So this is why I'm actually only putting it down on part of the side there. I'm not putting it all the way down because that's the part that looks like it's been chewed on to me. And when an insect's actually chewed on something, or if a leaf has been damaged by one thing or another, whether it's been hit with a stick and you come back a day or two later, you'll find that it's actually gone brown where it's been torn, or sort of is heading brown anyway. The sap tends to not flow, so therefore the leaf will start to die. And this is what I'm sort of trying to show here, is where the insects have actually chewed at it. I've used this style of painting leaves for years in the folk art, and I find that it looks quite effective, and I've had people tell me that it looks really good, so I thought I'll just use that here. And as I've never seen anyone on YouTube on using cards do anything like this, I thought, well, this is something that I can actually show to the world now. So this is one of the reasons why this card, or this video I should say, this YouTube video has actually come about, is because the styles that I'm using in here is more folk arty than watercolorist, I guess you could say. So this is why I thought, oh, something I've never seen anyone else do particularly like this, so I thought I'll do it. So this is one of the reasons why this card's come about. Just filling in the stem here. This is with the mowed lawn again. I've chosen these colours mainly because they look nice and bright on the screen, but to be honest, you could actually use any colours, any of the greens. You don't even have to use the distress inks. There's a few other different brands of inks that you could use that can be used in a similar way. Here I've just put pumice stone on the palette, and I'm just about to pick up a side load of the pumice stone just on the tip of the brush, so that I can get a fairly, I think I'll show you the brush at the moment. Yes, as you can see, it's just loaded on the toe of the brush, not all the way down to the heel, and I'm just pulling a little bit of colour on the flower where the petal is actually folded over. I'm putting a little bit of shade there, and also where the petals are actually over the top of other petals, a little bit of shading there, just to sort of darken it up a little bit, to sort of give it like an oomph of colour, so it sort of indicates that it's a little bit dimensional. After I finished this one, in hindsight, I could have probably gone all around the whole flower on the outside, on the white part of the card, with the pumice stone as well, just just to sort of make it look a bit more dimensional, but I sort of didn't think of that at the time. Now here I'm just putting this into my stamp press that I made, and I'm going to be putting the butterfly on, or butterflies I should say. There's actually 3 butterflies on this, 2 small ones and 1 large. This is just putting the large one on there at the moment. I'm using the Stazon Jet Black for that. Okay, now for the little butterflies I'm using just a very soft colour, cool Peri. I chose that colour particularly because I don't have that many inks, and that's one of the few that I do have that's in the cool sort of light colour. Mainly because I just need a hint of where the butterfly is, because I'm going to go over it with a gold glitter pen. I've got a Stella gold glitter pen, and I thought I'll go over it with that. Mainly because the sentiment that I put on is going to be in gold as well. The sentiment that I put on the other cards is from the Butterfly Kisses, and it's You Are In My Thoughts. So that's what I put on afterwards. Okay, now here I'm putting on oh, what's happened there? Oh, okay. The water droplets. Now I've actually got a plastic sheet that I've stamped it on, because it's a bit hard to line it up because you can't see through it. It's not like one of the clear stamps where you can't see through it. So I've stamped it onto a clear sheet, put my card below the image of where it's stamped on the clear sheet, and then I'm just putting the magnets on the card to stop the card from moving. I'm going to take the clear sheet away and then stamp it. Okay, stamp it so that it'll go exactly where I want it to go. I don't know of any other way of doing this. It works for me, so this is the way I do it. I'm not sure how anyone else does it when they want to line something up like this. Now I'm putting some on the other leaf as well. Okay, I'm using the same printed image on the thing and on the Perspex sheet. Okay, now here I'm actually got my Wink of Stella, and it's the gold Wink of Stella that I'm using. There's a Wink of Stella brush, and you can't quite read the gold, but it's there. Sorry about that, I was a little bit out of focus. And this is just for the little tiny butterflies, the ones that I did in the cool Peri. That was, as I said, the cool Peri was just there as a guide. It's just a guideline. If I'd coloured it in the jet black like I had the other one, the gold would have gotten lost, I think, with the black and behind it, because they are a solid stamp, not just an outline. It would have been a bit different if it was an outline stamp, but because it's a solid stamp, I think the colour would have just got lost in there. So that's why I chose just to do a very sort of soft colour stamp. That's why I chose the cool Peri. Okay, now in real life that does look quite glittery and quite nice, but you can't really see the glitter there so much. Okay, now I'm going to put out more carved pumpkin. This is for the butterfly, and some squeezed lemonade distress inks. When I find it, bear with me. Here we go. Okay, now these are just to paint the butterfly. Now, when I actually look back on this video, I think it would have been nice if I'd actually stopped after part way through the painting of the butterfly. You'll see what I mean in a moment. I think it looks quite nice. And now, sorry, here I actually go outside of the line, so I've got to clean it up. So that's what I'm doing here. Sorry about that. That's the beauty of this watercolour paper. Because it just sits on the top for so long, you can actually clean it up quite well, so it's not even seen. Now you'll see that here I'm actually going along, just side loading the brush, going along the outside of the butterfly, and I think I should have stopped there. That looks quite nice, but I didn't. I kept going and I just filled the whole butterfly in. I didn't put any shading or highlighting or anything on it, just filled the whole thing in. But as I said, I think it looks alright, and it's sort of colour coordinated to the flower, because they're both done with the orange, although the flower looks more yellow than orange now looking at it. And just recoating the yellow, because the yellow is quite a light colour. It's not as dark as the orange, so I thought I'll just do a second coat of the yellow. What I'm doing here is, on top of the water droplet stamps, just putting a drop of water on top and letting it sit for a little while, probably about 20 to 30 seconds, just letting it sit. What it does is it actually moves the colour underneath it, or dissolves the colour, I guess you could say. So when you blot it off, the colour lifts off as well, and you're left with an almost white underneath, or very light colour underneath. So it looks like a water droplet. There's a view of it. It looks quite good. Now, I do one more thing. I put on the glossy accents, which gives it like an actual water droplet look, as well as having the stamp on there. I thought it looked quite good, but unfortunately it does take a while to dry. It takes 20 minutes to half an hour to dry. There's the glossy accents, Ranger glossy accents. It took me a while to actually find a shop in Australia that actually sells that, but I did finally find one. And you just put it a little bit on. You've got to remember too that the glossy accent does tend to shrink a little bit, probably about 20%, maybe 30%, so you've got to try and put a little bit more on than what you actually want in the end when it's dry. I tend to forget that sometimes, that it shrinks, and I don't quite put enough on, and I'll go back a second time and put a little bit more, because the second time it doesn't always take as long to dry. But you can do that if you want, put a second coat on. Okay, now there's what it looks like. Now it looks a little milky on the glossy accents, but when it dries, that does dry completely clear, like water clear, clean water clear that is. Okay, that's pretty much it for that card. Now this is just showing some of the other cards that I've done of the same style, just using different colours. These are actually finished cards on the outside. I haven't put any sentiments inside, just the one on the outside which says "You're in my thoughts." You notice that was a yellow one, had a red butterfly in it. I've tried to, wherever possible, keep the butterfly the same colour as the flower, but when it was a yellow one, to put the yellow with the yellow on it, I thought I'd just get a bit lost, so I didn't do that. But anyway, that's the cards, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.